Welcome to the Build on Beauty podcast, where beauty is born skin deep. Now, here's your host, author, speaker, entrepreneur, Cornell Jermaine.
Hello and welcome back to the Build on Beauty podcast. I am your host, Cornell Jermaine. Listen, thank you so much for joining me once again for another great episode. If you've been listening to the show and you've been catching these episodes here lately, let me know in the comments. Leave some comments below. Let me know what has impacted you. What have you taken away? What have you enjoyed? What would you like to see more of, hear more of? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are overall. I would love to get your feedback. Listen, today we're going to talk about 5 steps to make dreams come true. 5 steps to make dreams come true. And when I talk about dreaming, I'm talking about the definition of a cherished aspiration or ambition or ideal. So something that you aspire to be. When we think of dreams, I often think of a child who has dreams. And most times as adults, we encourage or celebrate or support those dreams. It may be dreams of being a basketball player, dreams of being a A-class actor or singer, dreams of being an entrepreneur, dreams of being the next president. Most times when it comes to children dreaming, we support them. Somehow along the way, as we grow and mature in life, we tend to dismiss or bury or suppress our dreams or put them on the back burner. Whether that is because of a situation, circumstance, whether that's because of we don't feel that we can, or we feel the timing is over for that. We have to get a real job. We have to do life as an adult, grow up, if you will. And most times we lose that ability to dream and to aspire, to have ambition, to have thoughts of being better, greater, if you know what I mean. And I want to talk about that because I believe when you have a dream, I'm just a personal believer that the dream doesn't die. I think it can be suppressed. I think it can be deferred, if you will, as Langston Hughes said. But I don't think it goes anywhere. You know what I mean? I think it lives continually within us, and it sometimes manifests itself in frustration, discontent, unsettled behavior and characteristics. Because they pop up, when we see something or encounter something, or when we have the opportunity to do something that we thought should have been our pathway in life, and those dreams kind of come back up in us. And then we start looking around us and our situation and things and people around us. And sometimes it can lead us to resentment and other situations, because that dream is still alive. That dream is still wants to be birthed. That ambition, that aspiration is still there. So I think there is an opportunity here to learn how we as adults can embrace that childlike way of life, if you will, that childlike way of thinking and dreaming and aspiring. I don't believe, and I get it. I understand life happens, and I understand that, yes, we do have to mature and take on more responsibility. But I do believe there still and always is room for us to pursue the dream that we have for ourselves, whatever that may be. It may not be in the form that you thought it would have, but maybe there's another layer or level that you can participate in that can give you the fulfillment that you need in aspiring to do whatever that said thing is. So I want to encourage you, and when I talk about you, I'm talking about the adults. I'm talking about those who have grown up in life, and maybe there were things back in the day that you wanted to do that you probably should have taken advantage of, but didn't. Maybe you didn't have the advantage, or the opportunity never came to you. So you just acquiesced and went on as normal, because you didn't know how to. I want to speak to that generation, that group of people, because I believe that the dream is still in you. And I believe with the support, with the 5 steps that I'm going to share here, I believe that you can achieve and find fulfillment in that dream. When I talk about 5 steps to make dreams come true, this is going to be true across the board. Whether it's your child that you're trying to support, whether it's your husband or wife that you're trying to support, even a parent, that wants to do things and learn things and develop in other ways. It's going to be true across the board. I'm identifying this specific group because I believe this is a group that we often overlook. We constantly support the children. We constantly undergird them in their efforts. And a lot of times all of our energy goes to them, and rightfully so, because many times we don't want them to miss the opportunities that we had or that we didn't have. You know what I mean? We want them to have a better existence, a better life, a better trajectory than we had. So oftentimes we put our ambition and energy into pushing them, and that is great. But I think there is still room for you. So I'm talking to the parents, the adults, the 35s and up, the 40s and up, you know what I mean? The 50s and up, that still have dreams inside that you want to pursue. This is going to be an episode where I think you can benefit. So when I talk about 5 steps to making your dreams come true, and many of these you can apply to any area of your life. But when it comes to your dreams, I think we sometimes forget, especially in our younger years, we forget that these things have to be implemented because we often don't have to work for anything. You know what I mean? We don't have to put forth the effort really because everything is given to us. Everything is done for us. So we forget until we become adults that many of these principles that I'm going to explain here are necessary, not just in fulfilling your dreams, but in just living a life of standard living. You know what I mean? Not even trying to excel into greatness. I'm just talking about being a standard person that just makes money, be able to pay for their families, their homes, and take care of themselves. These things are going to be true, and you're going to have to implement them. But I want to build and present this in the context of your dream, your ambition, your aspirations in life. And in the 5 steps of making your dreams come true, we have to deal with the first, and it's going to be an acronym of the word dream. So I want you to follow me. But the 5 steps, the first one is the D in dream, and that's discipline. Discipline yourself. In anything that you're going to achieve in life, you're going to have discipline. Discipline is going to be the ultimate thing that's going to help you take you from that one level into that next level. You know what I mean? Take you from that good state to that great state. It's going to require discipline. And that comes in the form of finances. You know what I mean? If you're gonna make more money, it's gonna take discipline on how to get a job and acquire money, then what to do with that money. If you're gonna lose weight, it's gonna take discipline in knowing that I need to go to the gym. And I remember when I was at a state in life and I was determined to lose a certain number of pounds. And actually, thinking about it, I didn't have a number in mind. I just wanted to feel a certain way. You know what I mean? I wanted my clothes to fit a certain way. I wanted to feel lighter on my feet. So I never really got on the scale. And a buddy of mine that I train with right now, he's always on me about getting a scale. And I always tell him, like, I ain't never got on the scale. That ain't really me. I just go by how I feel. You know what I mean? And that works for me because it keeps the anxiety down. But that's another story, another episode. But disciplining yourself is going to be necessary. And I say discipline because many times we like to approach things and hope it just works out haphazardly. We don't realize that there are regimented steps and specific intentions that have to be done in order for a said goal to come to pass. You know what I mean? And when I think of that, I think of when I started my business early on. And I was probably maybe around this time, I might have been 7, 8 years into 6, 7, 8 years into my business. And I was looking at another place in my life that I wanted to go, professionally speaking. And something in me knew that I was going to have to finish schooling in order to do so. I put it off and didn't want to do it, didn't want to be bothered with it. But it just kept coming up inside of me that I'm going to have to do this if I'm going to go to the next step. And this came to mind to me when I was talking to a friend of mine just here recently who is going back for an MBA. Very, very, very successful in his profession and what he does, but he decided to go back. And when he was sharing that with me, I didn't know he was talking about how arduous the task is and how burdensome it can be and how it's just so much work and so much. And I was I'm lit up in the inside just listening to him because I'm so proud of him as a friend to make the decision to go back after having such a successful career. And still in the throes of his successful career. He hasn't plateaued at the state he's in, you know what I mean? But he decided to go back. And I said, you know what? I said, you can do that. I said, you can do it. I'm just encouraging, just throwing all kind of encouragement and support his way, because I'm just proud on the inside. And he's just looking like, oh my God, you don't even know. It was even hard for him to talk about it because the level of responsibility and the level of workload that he has just with the school was just overwhelming for him to even just think about it, to just share with me what it was like. You know what I mean? But I was I was emphatically encouraging him and making sure that he knew that he can do it. And I'm like, well, how long is the program? He told me when it would be over. I was like, oh man, you could do that. But I was able to do that because I recalled a certain time in my life when I had just or gotten to a place in my business. And mind you, it took me some time to get there, where I was able to say, okay, I'm doing well with my business. And all of a sudden now I have this desire to take it to the next level, and something in me is saying, okay, you're going to have to finish this. You're going to have to go back and do this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I did not want to do it because I knew what it would require. And I said, okay, when I finally said I'll do it, I said, I'll just go part-time. You know what I mean? It's cool. And the part-time position would, allow me to go. And when I say part-time, I'm talking about schooling. I was still full-time in my business doing what I was doing, but I was going to go to school part-time, which I did. And the part-time meant that I would go a couple of nights a week, which was cool, and maybe weekends here and there. And I was like, okay, this is cool. So I got into it, enrolled, was excited. And mind you, I didn't have any support financially for this. So I was running a business, which was doing well, but now I'm trying to go back to school and didn't have any programming and financial aid or anything like that. So I was going to have to pay out of my pocket. So a part of me is like, oh my God, so now I got to pay out of my pocket, and to me, it was risky, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know, what to expect, if it was even going to be able to take me to the next level, but something in me made me want to do it. But what I realized in that process is the discipline that it was going to take would be the main factor in me starting the program and coming out on the finishing end. It was the discipline, and the discipline started first. It was doable for me because going a couple of nights a week, I was good. But then I got into the program and I started thinking about the start time and then how long I was going to have to be in here if I went part-time. And I'm like, I'm tired already. So I can imagine doing this for another 2 years. You get what I'm saying? And something rose in me and said, go full-time. And I'm like, what? Go full-time. So I thought about it, sat on it, and I did it. I went back to school full-time and ultimately, honestly, switched the roles. So my business became my part-time gig and my schooling became my full-time gig. And I did that and knocked out that program in half the time that it would have taken me. But in order for me to do that, I had to have major discipline. And I tell you where the discipline came in. I had to get up and be at my business at 6 a.m. in the morning, every morning. I would then go leave the business after a few hours, had to be in school by, I think it was 10 a.m. So 6 a.m. I started off in my business, left there about 9:30, went over to the school, and I stayed at the school in school from 10 a.m. to about 5 o'clock, depending on what the program and the task we had going on. But by 5, typically I was wrapping up. Go back to the business, mind you. Okay, so I went at 6 a.m., stayed there for a few hours, went to school at 10 a.m., left school and went back to the business and did another 4 to 5 hours. And got home roughly about 11 o'clock, sometimes midnight or later, depending on the day. Did this for months, almost a year. In the winter, in the cold, and all of that, it took so much discipline that honestly, I really didn't realize until after the fact. I didn't really realize it was discipline. I didn't even realize it. All I knew is I got to get this done, and this is what I got to do to get it done. But I didn't realize I was acting out discipline in my life, which is what made that possible. And at the end of that program, when I graduated, I was like, wow, I'm done. It went so fast. It was shocking to me. But at the end of it, I was so glad that I did it. And I was so glad that I switched over to the full-time mode to get it done in half the time. Not realizing that if I was going to make it or knew how to do it or anything of that nature, all I knew is this burning dream, ambition, aspiration was inside of me. And I was not going to be settled until it was complete, which caused me to act out the discipline that was necessary. And anybody who's ever had to do this, and I know I'm not the first person who's had to go to school and go to work at the same time. I know I'm not the first. There are many of you out here who can attest to what I'm saying. It takes discipline. And in that discipline, you have to learn what is necessary and what is not. And when I say necessary, I mean what needs your attention and what does not. And when you're in the throes of that, you quickly realize where you waste your time and where you waste your energy. And when you realize that, you're quickly adjusting yourself to say, okay, that don't need my attention. I need to be focused over here. That don't need my attention right now. You know what I mean? Or I'll call them back, or I'll deal with them later. You get what I'm saying? And that was what took me from having this ambition, this desire to acquire what it is that I needed and actually finishing it. It was the discipline. So that is the first step in making your dreams come true. Discipline. If it's weight loss, if it's finances, if it's acquiring a degree, if it's building a business, discipline is going to be necessary. Speaking of building a business, the next element of building or making your dreams come true is risk. That's the R in dream. So first you have discipline, then you have risk. You're going to have to take risk. Speaking of me going back to school and doing what I did, it was a risk for me. My business could have completely failed. It was a huge risk. The people that were there to run it were left. I wasn't able to be there, so they had to do it and kind of step in and move for me. You know what I mean? I had to trust them to handle it while I was away. You get what I'm saying? It was a risk. I ain't even going to talk about. Well, I will a little bit. The financial risks that was associated with just going into business for myself. There were thousands, tens of thousands of dollars that have been spent and went down the drain, to the point where I was taking hiring people to do this and going to courses and doing that and doing all kind of things. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. Here we go again. You know what I mean? They set you up and things look like they're going to be prosperous and they're going to work for you. And then you find out, oh, that's not for me. Oh, that's not for me. I can't even tell you the amount of things that I have taken on and embraced to help kind of what I thought was support and take my business to the next level, or take me personally to the next level, that ultimately failed and went down the drain. But what did I learn from that? I learned that in order for me to build the character I needed, first of all, to be a good business person, but also to even find that thing that was meant for me and my business, I'm going to have to take a risk, because there's no way that you're going to be able to approach something and know just from face value whether it's for you. Now, sometimes you will. You can know be based on the vision that you've written for yourself, whether this is going to be beneficial. But when you're talking about opportunity, there's a vague line between that, because if somebody asks you, or if you want this and they present it to you in a way that, okay, this is going to help me market and get my business out there and all that kind of stuff, of course. And you see the fruit that it's gotten for them and other people, and the reviews and things, if it looks good, you like, okay, well, I need this. I can utilize this. But you get in, pay for it, get involved, and find out it's not working for you. But I guarantee you that thing can lend something to you that will help you become better for the next opportunity. And one day you'll bump into that opportunity that is for you, and it does work, it does click, and it's magic. So the risk is what's going to be necessary. The risk is going to be the thing that allows your faith to let you move when your head is telling you, what are you doing? Your mind is saying, what in the world are you doing? But it's the risk and the faith that's going to say, let's go, let's try it, let's do it, let's make a move. You know what I mean? You have to take risk. You have to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to make this happen for myself. I mean, I do, and I constantly do this. Don't think that when you get to a certain status in your business or in your life, in your relationships, that you won't have to continue to take risks. You're going to have to continue. I just took a risk maybe a couple of months ago that scared me half to death. Well, not half to death, but it scared me. You know what I'm saying? And it was responsibility for a major international corporation. And I won't go into any specifics because I have NDAs and all that kind of stuff surrounding this project. But I was asked to do a role that didn't quite fit my expertise, but I knew that I could do it. I had the confidence to do it. But that brings me to another point, which I'm going to pick that back up, and I'm going to put a pin there and come back and pick that up. But we have discipline. You discipline yourself. You take risks. You have to take risks, meaning you have to step out on faith, walk on water. That means you're walking, don't know what the foundation is going to be. You know what I mean? You taking the risk. And sometimes it's calculated risk. You know what I mean? You can kind of weigh it out and see and do some research to see if it's the right fit. And other times it's going to be just blind risk. Now, I'm not telling you to throw all your money to the wind. I'm not telling you to just waste your time on opportunities. But what I'm telling you is you're going to have to take some form of risk. And until you learn how to take calculated risk, try taking small risk for yourself. That may be going back to school. That may be taking on a new client. That may be embracing opportunity that you feel might be the right fit. Take the risk. Give it a try. That may be moving. That may be trying a new city. That may be going to school. Whatever it is, take the risk. If you keep yourself in the box and you keep yourself in this state of fear, then your faith will never be activated and able to move you to the next level, because it's going to take your faith. Hebrews, I believe it's the 11th chapter. Now faith is. What that means is it's action. Now is action. It's quick. It's now. It's not. Oh, I'm waiting. It's not. Oh, what time is it? In about an hour. No, now is active. It's constantly moving. That 0 to 3 seconds. It's constant. Now. You know what I mean? Just as quick as I've said it, that's faith in action. Now. So it's a moving action word that's going to ultimately take you and allow you to take yourself to the next level and allow you to fulfill your dream. So you have discipline, you have risk. Next, you have the E in dream, and that is eliminate. Eliminate what? Eliminate distractions. Do you think when I went back to school, I was able to do a lot of foolishness and deal with a lot of folly? I couldn't. I had a time. I had to quickly identify what deserved my attention in this season. Now, it's not forever. You know what I mean? And that's one of the statements that I often encourage people with. A lot of times when we're in those states of life where you're sacrificing, we think it's the end. We think that's all our life is going to be, is this sacrifice. I got to constantly throw myself on the line. I got to constantly sacrifice what I want. No, it's not forever. And if you position yourself right and you plan and you write the vision and you come up with the steps that you need to take in order to achieve, the sacrifice is not going to be forever. It's just for now. And once you understand that and embrace that, it'll give you a lot more joy on your journey of fulfilling your dreams. The sacrifice is not your lifestyle. It's just a state in life that will allow you to get to the place that you have in mind. So you have to eliminate distractions. So sometimes that means you might not be able to hang out as much. You know what I mean? You might not be able to talk on the phone as much with your friends. Sometimes that means you might not be able to spend money and go out. I was very mindful when I went back to school, because I had to pay my own tuition and keep my business going and maintain my lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? So I couldn't spend like I necessarily was before. You know what I mean? So I had to implement budgets in order to eliminate costs. So when you talk about eliminating distractions, that comes in the form of relationships, that comes in the form of commercialism, things that you really don't need to buy that you're buying and going out and doing this, hanging out, doing that, whatever. That means time that you might have spent watching television and seeing the latest movies and series or whatever the case may be. Now you need to take that time to study. It does not mean that you have to throw away everything. You can't have nothing, but your level of discipline is what's going to determine how far you go. So if you have it within you to cut it all off, then do so. But if you're the type of person that needs to maintain a little bit just to keep your sanity, then do that. Do what you need to do. Do it to the measure that you need in order to keep yourself balanced. You know what I mean? You don't want to drive yourself crazy, but you do want to realize that eliminating distractions is going to be the only thing that allows you to focus properly. And in your focus is where your discipline is going to find its roots. You can't have proper discipline if you're not focused. Discipline and focus go hand in hand. So if you're not a focused individual, it's going to be impossible for you to have discipline. I'll say it again. If you're not a focused individual, it's going to be impossible for you to have discipline. And in order for you to have focus, you must eliminate distractions. One of the things I've had to do just recently, but because of how I run my business and how I've set up my life, I had to take it upon myself to say, you know what? My phone has to shut down at a certain time. And this is just something I implemented recently. I had to shut it down because I was getting to a place where I wasn't getting the proper rest that I needed at night. I said, you know what? I have to shut it down. So what I did is I programmed my phone to, at a certain hour, it completely shuts down. So if you're trying to call me within a certain time frame at night, I won't know about it until I get up in the morning and check the device, because it shuts down at a certain hour. And your phone does this too. So sometimes you might need to do that. And why? I needed to do it for myself because I needed to be able to stop myself from checking emails and responding to this and stop responding to that. Then also I needed to be able to put people in their proper place to say, hey, you know what? I'm not answering the phone after this hour. So I had to have that kind of resolve in myself to say, you know what? I just believe that everybody's going to be okay and everybody's good. And whatever happens, that I can put it in the hands of God, that in this hour, I can at least find some type of solitude and rest in order for me to be properly prepared for the next day, for the opportunities, for the fulfillment of the next dream or goal, or etc. So that's something that had to be done for me. So these are things that you have to realize for yourself. Sometimes you may need to shut the phone. For some people, the phone is not a problem. It may be the television. So sometimes you might have to cancel Netflix for a season. Whatever the case may be, eliminate distractions so that you can move your life, your dreams, your profession, your personal life, whatever it is that you're dreaming for, ahead. The next thing you have to do, and you have discipline, you have risk, you have eliminating distractions, then you have to be assertive. And that's what brings me back to the point I was making a little bit earlier. You have to be assertive, and all assertiveness is boldness. It's putting forth the confidence that you have. And taking you back to the story that I started a few moments ago about a major international corporation that brought me in to be a part of a huge project. And when I was asked to do it, I was like, well, I've done that role to a degree, but a part of me was nervous about it because I hadn't done it to that degree on that level. And when I say on that level, I'm talking about for a corporate structure that had professionals that did certain things every day, all day, but something in me had the confidence. Some things that I probably needed to tweak and work on, but overall I said, oh, I can do this. You know what I mean? I can do this. And the reason I knew I could do it is because inside of me, this is a position that I always wanted, you know what I mean? And one that I strive for. So when it came to me, I was like, this is my opportunity to prove to myself, not nobody else, to prove to myself that you can do this. And guess what? I didn't even second guess it. I immediately accepted it because the people that brought me on to hire me, they had worked with me before. So they were like, well, you know, they were confident in me doing it. So I had to show up with that same assertiveness. I had to show up with that same confidence and say, oh yeah, we got it, no problem. Even though in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. Now, granted, I wasn't far-fetched and out of my wheelhouse. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't trying to do something that was completely out of my skill set. It was just the level of detail that was required for this one was a little bit more intense than I had been used to. But I said, something in me said, I can do it. And guess what? I'm here, a few months later saying, I got it done. I got it done. And not only did I get it done on that project, but I got many other projects thereafter because of how I got it done there. So I proved to myself, and this is what assertiveness is going to do. It's going to prove to you that you have what it takes to get the job done. But if you show up to the table less confident and oh, I think I can, I can try, you've already lost the game. You've already lost the battle. It's already lost. You have to show up with that assertiveness, but it has to be built on true confidence. It can't be built on falsehood. It can't be built on just things that you want to do, you know, or things that you've seen other people do. You have to, somewhere inside of you, have the skill set, have the talent, and you just need to find out a way to unearth it. And that's when those opportunities present themselves. You know, you've always wanted to do this, you always wanted to do that, but you've never done it before. But that opportunity comes. Now it's your time to prove to yourself that, yes, you can occupy this space and you can do it effectively. And that's what that was for me. And I had to show up on the scene during the negotiation with that assertiveness, that confidence, that boldness that says, I got it. And guess what? At the end of the day, I got it done. So you have to be assertive in your pursuit of fulfilling your dream. You have to show up with boldness, and that's going to take some work behind the scenes. That's going to take some research, some work, some self-involvement behind the scenes in order for you to be positioned when the opportunity comes to say, I can do it. And guess what? If you show up like that, when you say yes to the job, everything that you need is going to fall in line. There's going to be this almost this overwhelmingness of confidence that now leads you to the things that you need to do, how you need to prepare, what you need to say, how you need to show up. all of that's going to start to fall in place. And these pieces are going to start coming together because the opportunity that's now before you is something that you were made and created for before the foundation of the world, which is why the dream was in you before the opportunity arose. In order for greatness to be unveiled, there must be a preparation for you as an individual that is now coupled with the opportunity that now leads you into greatness. So it's going to take disciplining yourself. It's going to take risk. It's going to take eliminating distractions, focusing, and it's going to take you being assertive, bold, confident in whatever it is that you need to do to get the job done. The next thing and last thing is going to be, now this is going to be a kind of a double entendre, if you will, for lack of better terms. But the M in dream is going to be make room for more. That is the last point in order to fulfill the dream. The last step is you need to make room for more. What is the more? More opportunities, more wealth, more wisdom, more relationships. Make room. Be intentional. That's what make means. Be intentional about making room for more. And when I say that, I mean getting rid of all of the clutter. And sometimes the shifting or the moving, we oftentimes, when we say make room, we often talk about maybe replacing negative energy with positive energy or negative thoughts with positive affirmations. I'm not just talking about dismissing negativity, although that is going to be necessary. But when I'm talking about making room for more, I'm talking about ultimately even getting rid of the good in order to get to the great. Getting rid of the good in order to get to the great. So sometimes that means when you go and clean your closet because you want more of a certain look for yourself, that means maybe taking those nice pair of clothes. I did this a few months ago and it just came over me. It came over me. It was back in the summertime. I was like, I got to get rid of this stuff. And I threw away some stuff that a few months later, I was like, ooh, I should have kept that. Ooh, I could have used that. I was getting dressed for something. And I thought I had this particular shirt. It was a silk shirt that I bought probably 15 years ago, $200 some, expensive. And I really didn't even wear it that much because I'm the type that I'll buy clothes just because I like that piece. And it may sit in my closet for months, sometimes even years before I even use it. And I'll get inspired, because I am a creative and I'll say, oh, I'm gonna put that on with this. So I had one of those moments and I went to go find it in the closet and I was like, oh my God, did I throw that away? I was having what they call it. I was having not just regret, but you know what I mean, remorse. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, why I throw that away? I could have. Oh, that would have went perfect. So anyway, I got rid of some good stuff, is what I'm saying. I threw away some good stuff in order to make room for some great things. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, you're gonna have to get rid of even the good to achieve the great. So making room means making room for more in whatever way that may be. If you're looking for more finances, then you first of all, you learn how to respect and utilize the money that you have, and then you give. Find somebody something to give into. That's how you make room with financing. It's not by hoarding. If you want to make room for more money, then give to somebody else who doesn't have as much. And give without strings, give without expectation. If you want to make room for more in your relationships, then open up yourself to more opportunities to hang out and to meet people. Make room. When people ask you to go to lunch, quit turning them off and rejecting them all the time. Oh, I'm busy. I ain't got nothing to do. Fine to say, oh, I can't do it this day, but let's try to do it this way. And making room sometimes might mean you reaching out to other people. Sometimes it may mean you being the aggressor in the relationship. And when I say aggressor, I'm talking about the one who reaches out. There are some people who, if he ain't called me, I ain't calling him. You that kind of situation. You get some people that act like that, but sometimes you might be the one that needs to take the lead. You know what I mean? That's how you're making room. You know what I mean? You're letting that individual know, like, hey, you know, whatever the case may be. And I'm not talking about just in a dating relationship. I'm talking about just in friendships. Sometimes you just need to make room for more opportunities. Well, how many resumes are you throwing out there? How many people are you telling about your business and what it is that you do? How many people are you showing your skill set to? How many people are you expressing your talent, your skill, your abilities to? That's making room for more. So in order to fulfill your dream, you're going to have to follow these 5 steps. And I wanted to make sure that this quote was a part of this. And this is Brian Tracy. He said, sometimes we need to let go of things in our lives to make room for better things. Sometimes we have to shift and get rid of that really nice sofa to get a really beautiful and a luxurious set of furniture. Sometimes you need to let go of that starter home that's really nice and comfortable in order to move into that beautiful condo that you want. So letting go of the good to get to the great is just as necessary as cutting off the negativity to get to the positivity, cutting off the self-doubt in order to get to the self-esteem or to the self-confidence, if you will. So these are the 5 steps that I believe and that I've proven in my own life. I'm sure there are other ways and other opportunities and other things that you can utilize to get your dreams fulfilled. This is what I've implemented, and this is what has worked and is working for me. And the 5 steps are: discipline yourself, take risks, eliminate distractions, be assertive, make more room. In order to fulfill your dreams, in order to see your aspirations and allow your ambitions to be fulfilled, you're going to have to dream. And that means to take this dream and break it down into bite-sized steps that allow you to now swim with the whales, fly with the eagles, roar with the lions. You can become the king, you can become the premier, the great of your said field, space, respected position. So dream big. Don't allow your dreams to die. Langston Hughes said it this way. He said, hold fast to your dreams, for if your dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to your dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Hold on to your dreams, and don't just hold on to them, activate them by implementing the discipline, the risk, the elimination, the assertiveness, the making more room that's necessary to see those dreams fulfilled. This has been the Build on Beauty podcast, where beauty is born skin deep. I'm your host, Cornell Jermaine. Until next time, let your soul be made whole. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Build on Beauty podcast. For more information about our host, please visit cornelljermaine.com.